A single dad stood between death and an innocent woman. 3 bullets ripped through his flesh. The judge's mother lived. But he lost everything, his voice, his dreams, his ability to say, "I love you," to his little girl. Now, trapped in eternal silence, he must find a way to be a father when he cannot speak. This is his story. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. James Wilson woke up at 5 in the morning, just like every other day. His alarm didn't wake him. He never needed it anymore. His body had learned the routine. Wake up early, make breakfast, get his daughter ready for school, work all day, come home exhausted, and do it all over again. He walked quietly to the kitchen of their tiny 2-bedroom apartment. The paint was peeling on the walls, and the faucet dripped constantly, but it was home. It was all James could afford on his salary. He started making scrambled eggs and toast. His daughter, Lily, loved breakfast. She was only 6 years old, but she was James's entire world. Her mother had left them 2 years ago, disappearing one night without explanation. No note. No goodbye. Just gone. James never talked about it. What was there to say? He was a single dad now, and that was that. He had to be strong for Lily. "Daddy." Lily's voice called from her bedroom. "Is breakfast ready?" James smiled. Even on his hardest days, her voice brought him joy. "Almost, princess. Come eat." Lily ran into the kitchen, her brown hair messy from sleep. She wore her favorite pink pajamas with unicorns on them. James had bought them for her birthday last month. "Did you make the eggs the way I like them?" Lily asked, climbing into her chair. "Extra cheese, just for you," James said, placing the plate in front of her. Lily grinned and started eating. James sat across from her with his coffee, watching her. These quiet morning moments were his favorite. No stress, no worries. Just father and daughter, together. "Daddy, can we go to the park this weekend?" Lily asked between bites. "Of course, baby. We'll go on Saturday," James promised. "And can we get ice cream?" James laughed. "We'll see. If you're good all week." Lily nodded seriously. "I'll be super good. I promise." After breakfast, James helped Lily get dressed for school. He braided her hair, packed her lunch, and made sure she had all her homework. Then they walked together to the school bus stop. "I love you, Daddy," Lily said, hugging him tight before getting on the bus. "I love you too, princess." "Be good today," James replied, kissing her forehead. He watched the bus drive away, then headed to his car. Time for work. James worked as a janitor at the county courthouse. It wasn't a glamorous job, but it paid the bills. He cleaned offices, mopped floors, emptied trash cans. The work was hard on his back, but he never complained. Lily needed food, clothes, and a roof over her head. That's all that mattered. At the courthouse, James was invisible. Lawyers and judges walked past him without a second glance. He was just the janitor, the man who cleaned up after everyone else. But there was one person who always noticed him. Judge Catherine Morrison. Judge Morrison was in her early 60s, strict but fair. She had been a judge for over 20 years and had a reputation for being tough on criminals. People respected her, and some feared her. But to James, she was always kind. "Good morning, James," Judge Morrison said as he cleaned outside her office. "Good morning, Judge Morrison," James replied with a smile. "How's your daughter doing?" the judge asked. "She's great. Growing up too fast," James said. Judge Morrison smiled warmly. "Children do that. Treasure every moment. They grow up before you know it." "I will, ma'am." "Thank you." Judge Morrison nodded and walked into her office. James continued cleaning, unaware that in just a few hours, his entire life would change forever. That afternoon, James was cleaning the main lobby of the courthouse. It was a large, echoing space with marble floors and tall windows. Usually, it was busy with people coming and going, but today it was quiet. Most of the trials had ended early. As James mopped the floor, he noticed an elderly woman sitting on a bench near the entrance. She looked tired and was holding a small bag. James recognized her. It was Mrs. Helen Morrison, Judge Morrison's mother. She was 81 years old, a sweet woman who sometimes visited her daughter at work. "Are you okay, ma'am?" James asked, walking over to her. Mrs. Morrison looked up and smiled. "Oh, hello, James. Yes, I'm fine. Just waiting for Catherine. She's finishing up some paperwork, and then we're going to dinner." "That sounds nice," James said. "Can I get you some water or anything?" "No, thank you, dear. You're very kind." James went back to mopping, but he kept an eye on Mrs. Morrison. She looked frail sitting there all alone. Suddenly, the courthouse doors burst open. A man stormed inside. He was tall, muscular, with wild eyes and a face twisted with rage. In his right hand, he held a gun. James's blood ran cold. "Where is she?" the man screamed. "Where is Judge Morrison?" James dropped his mop. His heart pounded in his chest. He recognized the man. His name was Derek Stone. 3 months ago, Judge Morrison had sentenced him to 15 years in prison for assault and armed robbery. But Derek had escaped from prison 2 weeks ago. The news had been all over the television. Police were searching for him everywhere. And now he was here. "I'm going to kill her," Derek shouted, waving the gun wildly. "She ruined my life. She took everything from me." Mrs. Morrison gasped and stood up, trembling. Derek's eyes locked onto her. "You." Derek pointed the gun directly at Mrs. Morrison. "You're her mother." Mrs. Morrison's face went white. She tried to back away, but her legs wouldn't move. She was frozen in terror. "If I can't hurt her, I'll hurt you," Derek screamed. "She needs to know what it feels like to lose someone." Time seemed to stop. James saw Derek's finger tighten on the trigger. He saw Mrs. Morrison standing there, helpless and terrified. He saw the hate burning in Derek's eyes. James didn't think. He just acted. He ran. He ran as fast as he could across the marble floor. His shoes slipped slightly, but he didn't stop. He threw himself in front of Mrs. Morrison just as Derek pulled the trigger. The first bullet hit James in the shoulder. The pain was instant and overwhelming. It felt like someone had stabbed him with a red-hot poker. But James didn't fall. He stayed standing, his arms spread wide, shielding Mrs. Morrison with his body. The second bullet hit James in the chest. His lung collapsed. He gasped for air, but nothing came. His vision blurred. The third bullet hit James in the throat. Blood sprayed everywhere. James felt his vocal cords tear apart. He tried to scream, but no sound came out. Only silence. James collapsed to the floor. Mrs. Morrison screamed. Security guards rushed in from all directions and tackled Derek to the ground. "Call an ambulance," someone shouted. James lay on the cold marble floor, drowning in his own blood. He couldn't breathe. He couldn't move. He couldn't speak. His mind filled with one thought, Lily. His little girl. Who would take care of her? Who would make her breakfast? Who would braid her hair? No. He couldn't die. Not now. Not like this. With every ounce of strength left in his body, James fought. He fought to breathe. He fought to stay conscious. He fought to live. For Lily. James woke up 5 days later in a hospital room. His entire body was wrapped in bandages. Tubes ran from his arms, chest, and throat. Machines beeped steadily around him. He tried to speak, but nothing happened. He tried again. Still nothing. Only a faint, wet rasping sound. Panic flooded through him. He tried to sit up, but pain exploded through his body. He fell back against the pillow, gasping silently. A nurse rushed into the room. "Mr. Wilson. You're awake. Don't try to move. You're very badly injured." James tried to ask what happened, but no words came out. He pointed desperately at his throat. The nurse's expression became sad. "I'll get the doctor. Just stay calm." A few minutes later, a doctor entered. His name tag read, Dr. Richard Coleman. "Mr. Wilson," Dr. Coleman said gently. "You've been through a terrible trauma. You were shot 3 times. The bullets caused severe damage to your shoulder, chest, and throat." James pointed at his throat again, his eyes pleading for answers. Dr. Coleman took a deep breath. "The bullet that struck your throat destroyed your vocal cords and damaged your larynx. We did everything we could to save your life, but I'm very sorry. You will never speak again." James's eyes widened in horror. "Never speak again? Never?" He shook his head violently, wincing from the pain. "This couldn't be happening. I know this is devastating news," Dr. Coleman continued. "But you're alive. That's what matters. You saved Mrs. Morrison's life. You're a hero." James didn't feel like a hero. He felt like his world had ended. The doctor handed him a pen and paper. "You can communicate by writing. And there are therapies we can try. Sign language, electronic voice devices. You'll adapt." James took the pen with shaking hands. He wrote, "My daughter. Where is she?" "She's with a social worker right now," the doctor said. "She's been here every day, waiting for you to wake up. Would you like to see her?" James nodded frantically. Yes. He needed to see Lily. He needed to know she was okay. "I'll bring her in," Dr. Coleman said. "But please, try to stay calm. She's very scared." The doctor left. A few minutes later, the door opened. Lily walked in slowly, holding a social worker's hand. Her eyes were red from crying. When she saw James, she froze. "Daddy," she whispered. James's heart shattered into a million pieces. He reached out his good arm toward her. Lily ran to the bed and grabbed his hand. Tears streamed down her face. "Daddy. I was so scared. They said you got hurt really bad." James squeezed her hand. He tried to say, "I'm okay," but nothing came out. Only that awful rasping sound. Lily's eyes filled with confusion and fear. "Daddy. Why can't you talk? Say something. Please." James grabbed the pen and paper. His hand shook as he wrote, "I can't talk anymore, Princess. But I'm still your daddy. I love you so much." Lily read the note and burst into tears. "No. No. I want to hear your voice. Daddy, please talk to me." James pulled Lily close and held her as tight as he could. She sobbed against his chest, and James cried silently with her. No sound came from his throat. Only tears. The social worker stepped forward. "Lily, your daddy is very brave. He saved someone's life. He's a hero." "I don't want a hero." Lily cried. "I just want my daddy back." James wrote another note, "I'm still here, baby. I'm not going anywhere. I promise." Lily read it and hugged him tighter. "Don't leave me, Daddy. Please don't leave me." James kissed the top of her head. He would never leave her. No matter what happened, he would be there for his little girl. Even if he could never speak to her again. James spent 3 months in the hospital. The physical therapy was torture. Every movement hurt. His shoulder was stiff and weak. His chest ached with every breath. And his throat felt like it was on fire constantly. But the hardest part was the silence. James couldn't call for help when he needed something. He couldn't have conversations with the nurses. He couldn't tell Lily stories before bed when she visited. Everything had to be written down. I need water. My chest hurts. Can you help me sit up? Every single thought, every single need, had to be written on paper. It was exhausting. Judge Morrison visited James several times during his recovery. She always came with her mother, Mrs. Morrison. James, Judge Morrison said during one visit, tears in her eyes. You saved my mother's life. You didn't hesitate. You just acted. I can never thank you enough. Mrs. Morrison held James's hand. You're an angel, James. God sent you to protect me that day. James wrote, I just did what anyone would do. Judge Morrison shook her head. No. Most people would have run away or hidden. You ran toward danger. That takes incredible courage. She handed James an envelope. This is from the city. They're giving you a Medal of Honor. And there's a fund being set up to help with your medical bills and Lily's care. James tried to refuse, but Judge Morrison insisted. Please. Let us help. You gave up everything for my mother. It's the least we can do. James finally nodded and accepted the envelope. As the weeks passed, James learned to adapt to his new reality. He learned basic sign language, though Lily struggled to understand most of it. He carried a small notebook everywhere to communicate. The doctors tried different treatments. Speech therapy, electronic voice boxes, even experimental surgeries. But nothing worked. The damage was too severe. James's voice was gone forever. When James was finally released from the hospital, he faced a harsh reality. He couldn't work as a janitor anymore. The physical labor was too much for his damaged body. And without being able to speak, he couldn't communicate with supervisors or call for help in emergencies. He lost his job. Money became a serious problem. James had a small savings account, but it was running out fast. Rent, food, utilities, Lily's school supplies, everything cost money. And James had no income. He applied for disability benefits, but the process was slow. He applied for other jobs, but no one wanted to hire a man who couldn't speak. James felt helpless. He was a father who couldn't provide for his daughter. One night, Lily found James sitting in the dark, staring at unpaid bills spread across the kitchen table. She walked over and hugged him. Daddy, are we going to be okay? She asked quietly. James wanted to say yes. He wanted to promise her everything would be fine. But he couldn't speak. He could only write, I'll figure something out. I promise. But deep inside, James was terrified. 2 weeks later, Judge Morrison showed up at James's apartment unannounced. She knocked on the door, and James answered, surprised to see her. May I come in? Judge Morrison asked. James nodded and stepped aside. Judge Morrison looked around the small apartment. It was clean but worn. The furniture was old. The walls needed paint. But it was clear James tried his best to make it a home for Lily. James, Judge Morrison began, I've been thinking about you constantly. I know you lost your job. I know you're struggling. James wrote, I'll be okay. I don't want charity. Judge Morrison smiled gently. This isn't charity. It's opportunity. The courthouse needs someone to manage the legal archives. It's a quiet job, mostly organizing old case files and legal documents. You wouldn't need to speak. You could do it all through email and written communication. The pay is good, and there's full health insurance for you and Lily. James stared at the judge in disbelief. He wrote, "Why would you do this for me?" Judge Morrison's eyes filled with tears. "Because you gave up everything for my mother. For me. You lost your voice, your livelihood, your entire life. And you asked for nothing in return. This job doesn't even begin to repay what you did, but I hope it helps." James felt overwhelmed. He wrote, "Thank you. I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," Judge Morrison replied. "Just take care of that beautiful daughter of yours. That's all the thanks I need." James started his new job the following Monday. The work was quiet and methodical, exactly what he needed. He spent his days organizing old legal files, scanning documents, and updating the digital archive system. His co-workers were kind and patient. They communicated with him through emails and written notes. No one treated him like he was broken. They treated him like he was valuable. For the first time in months, James felt a sense of purpose again. Lily noticed the change in her father. He smiled more. He seemed less stressed. One night, as James tucked her into bed, Lily said, "Daddy, I'm proud of you." James wrote, "Why, princess?" "Because you're so strong. Even when bad things happen, you don't give up. You're my hero." James hugged Lily tight. He wished he could tell her how much her words meant to him. He wished he could say, "I love you," out loud. But all he could do was hold her and hope she understood. Lily understood. She always did. 6 months after the shooting, James received a letter in the mail. The return address was from the state maximum security prison. Derek Stone had written to him. James's hands trembled as he opened the envelope. Part of him wanted to throw it away without reading it. But another part needed to know what Derek had to say. The letter was written in messy handwriting. "Mr. Wilson. I don't expect you to read this. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't even deserve your forgiveness. What I did to you was evil. I was so full of rage and hate that I didn't care who I hurt. I wanted to make Judge Morrison suffer, and I was willing to kill an innocent old woman to do it. But you stopped me. You threw yourself in front of my gun, and you paid the price for my sins. I destroyed your life. I took your voice. I took your ability to be a normal father to your daughter. And for what? Nothing. My rage accomplished nothing except more pain. I'm in prison for the rest of my life now. I'll never get out. And every single day, I think about what I did to you. I see your face in my nightmares. I hear the silence where your voice should be. I'm sorry. I know those words are meaningless. I know sorry doesn't give you back what I took. But I need you to know that I regret every second of that day. You're a better man than I ever was. Your daughter is lucky to have you. I'm sorry. Derek Stone. James read the letter 3 times. He felt a confusing mix of emotions. Anger. Pain. But also something unexpected, pity. Derek Stone had destroyed his own life just as much as he had hurt James. His rage had consumed him, and now he would spend the rest of his life in a cage. James could have let hatred consume him too. He could have spent every day wishing for revenge, drowning in bitterness. But what would that accomplish? It wouldn't bring his voice back. It wouldn't change anything. It would only poison his soul and hurt Lily. James made a decision. He wouldn't forgive Derek Stone, that was too much to ask. But he wouldn't let hate control him either. He wrote a response. Derek. I won't say I forgive you. What you did destroyed part of my life. I can't read bedtime stories to my daughter anymore. I can't sing her to sleep. I can't tell her I love her with my voice. But I won't let hatred destroy what's left of my life. I have a daughter who needs me to be strong. I choose to focus on what I still have, not what I lost. You say you're sorry. If you truly mean it, then spend the rest of your life doing something good. Help other prisoners. Be a better person. Make your life mean something positive. That's all I have to say. James Wilson. He mailed the letter and never heard from Derek Stone again. But somehow, writing those words lifted a heavy weight from James's chest. He had chosen peace over vengeance. And that choice set him free. 1 year after the shooting, Lily's school was putting on a play. She had been cast as the lead role, a princess who saves her kingdom from a dragon. Lily was so excited. She practiced her lines every night, and James helped her rehearse. He would hold up cue cards and give her thumbs up when she did well. "Daddy, will you come watch me?" Lily asked one evening. James wrote, "Of course, princess. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Even though you can't clap or cheer for me?" Lily asked quietly. James's heart broke. He wrote, "I'll be the proudest dad in the audience, even if I can't make noise. You'll see me smiling. That's all that matters." Lily hugged him tight. "Okay, Daddy." The night of the play arrived. The school auditorium was packed with parents and families. James sat in the front row, his notebook ready. When Lily walked onto the stage in her princess costume, James's eyes filled with tears. She looked so grown up, so confident, so beautiful. Lily performed perfectly. She remembered all her lines. She sang her song beautifully. She was incredible. The audience erupted in applause when the play ended. Everyone was clapping and cheering. James wanted so badly to join them. He wanted to shout, "That's my daughter. That's my girl." But he couldn't. He sat silently, clapping as hard as he could, tears streaming down his face. After the play, Lily ran to James and hugged him. "Did you like it, Daddy?" James wrote, "You were amazing, princess. I'm so proud of you." Lily grinned. "I saw you crying. Happy tears?" James nodded and wrote, "The happiest." As they walked to the car, Lily held James's hand. "Daddy, I know you can't talk. But I always know what you're thinking. I can see it in your eyes." James squeezed her hand and wrote, "You're the smartest, bravest girl in the world." "I learned from the best," Lily replied, leaning against her father. In that moment, James realized something important. He didn't need a voice to be a good father. Love wasn't spoken in words. It was shown in actions. And every day, James showed Lily how much he loved her. 2 years after the shooting, on a random Tuesday afternoon, there was a knock on James's apartment door. James opened it and froze in shock. Standing in the doorway was Amanda, Lily's mother. The woman who had abandoned them 3 years ago. Amanda looked different. Her hair was shorter. She had lost weight. Her eyes looked tired and sad. "James," Amanda said quietly. "Can I come in?" James wanted to slam the door in her face. But Lily was at school, and he wanted to hear what Amanda had to say before deciding anything. He stepped aside and let her enter. They sat in the living room in awkward silence. Finally, Amanda spoke. "I heard about what happened to you. The shooting. Losing your voice. I'm so sorry, James." James grabbed his notebook and wrote, "Why are you here?" Amanda's eyes filled with tears. "Because I made the biggest mistake of my life. I left you and Lily. I thought I wanted freedom and adventure. But I was wrong. I've been miserable every day since I left." James wrote, "And now you want to come back?" "I want to see Lily," Amanda said. "I know I don't deserve it. I know I hurt her. But she's my daughter. I miss her so much." James wrote furiously, "You abandoned her. She cried herself to sleep for months. She asked me every day why mommy didn't love her. You broke her heart. Amanda sobbed. I know. I know I'm a terrible person. But please, James. Let me see her. Let me apologize. Let me try to make things right. James stared at Amanda. Part of him wanted to protect Lily from more pain. But another part knew that Lily deserved the chance to see her mother again, if she wanted to. He wrote, I'll tell Lily you're here. It's her choice. When Lily came home from school and saw her mother, she stopped in her tracks. Mom. Lily whispered, her voice uncertain. Amanda stood up, tears streaming down her face. Hi, baby. I've missed you so much. Lily didn't run to her. She didn't smile. She just stood there, staring. Then she turned and walked to her bedroom, closing the door behind her. Amanda broke down crying. She hates me. James wrote, she's confused. Give her time. Over the next few weeks, Amanda visited regularly. She brought gifts. She apologized over and over. She tried to rebuild the relationship she had destroyed. Lily was cautious. She didn't trust her mother yet. But slowly, very slowly, she started to open up. One day, Lily asked James, Daddy, do you think I should give Mom another chance? James wrote carefully, that's your decision, sweetheart. I can't make it for you. But remember, forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing not to let the pain control you. Lily thought about it for a long time. Finally, she said, I want to try. But if she leaves again, I'm done. James nodded. He understood. And he would be there for Lily no matter what happened. 3 years after the shooting, the city held a special ceremony to honor James. They were presenting him with the Medal of Valor, the highest civilian honor for bravery. James didn't want the attention. He had never done it for recognition. But Judge Morrison convinced him to accept the award. People need to hear your story, James, Judge Morrison said. They need to know that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. The ceremony was held at City Hall. Hundreds of people attended. Police officers, firefighters, city officials, and regular citizens filled the auditorium. Lily sat in the front row, wearing her best dress. Amanda sat beside her. Judge Morrison and Mrs. Morrison sat on the other side. The mayor stood at the podium and told James's story. He talked about the shooting, the sacrifice, the recovery. He talked about how James had risked everything to save a stranger. James Wilson couldn't speak today even if he wanted to, the mayor said. But his actions speak louder than any words ever could. He is a true hero. The audience erupted in applause. James walked slowly to the stage. His shoulder still ached sometimes, and his chest hurt when it rained. But he was alive. He was standing. He was moving forward. The mayor placed the Medal of Valor around James's neck. The entire audience stood and applauded for 5 full minutes. James looked out at the crowd. He saw Lily, tears streaming down her face, clapping as hard as she could. He saw Judge Morrison and her mother, both crying. He saw his co-workers from the courthouse, all smiling proudly. James pulled out his notebook and wrote a message. Judge Morrison read it aloud for everyone to hear. I didn't save Mrs. Morrison to be a hero. I did it because it was the right thing to do. Because someone needed help, and I was there. I lost my voice that day, but I gained something more important. I learned that strength isn't about being fearless. It's about doing what's right, even when you're terrified. Thank you for this honor. But the real heroes are the people who show up every day, who take care of their families, who help their neighbors. Those are the people who change the world. Thank you. The applause was deafening. After the ceremony, Mrs. Morrison approached James. She was now 84 years old, still fragile but strong-spirited. James, she said, taking his hands in hers. You gave me 3 more years with my daughter. 3 more years of sunrises, laughter, and love. I can never repay that gift. But I want you to know that not a single day goes by that I don't thank God for you. James hugged her gently. He didn't need words to express what he felt. Some things go deeper than language. 5 years after the shooting, James stood in the kitchen of his new apartment. It was bigger than the old one, with fresh paint and working appliances. The job at the courthouse had paid well, and he had been able to save money and move to a better neighborhood. Lily was now 11 years old. She had grown so much. She was smart, kind, and confident. She had her father's quiet strength and her mother's beauty. Amanda had stayed in their lives. She had proven herself over the years, showing up consistently, being there for Lily. James and Amanda weren't together anymore, too much had happened for that. But they had learned to co-parent peacefully. They both loved Lily, and that was enough. That morning, Lily walked into the kitchen and sat at the table. "Daddy, can I ask you something?" James nodded and grabbed his notebook. "If you could have your voice back, but it meant Mrs. Morrison would have died that day, would you choose your voice?" James paused. It was a profound question. He thought carefully before writing his answer. "No. I wouldn't change anything. Because that day taught me something important. Life isn't measured by what we say. It's measured by what we do. I lost my voice, but I found my purpose. I saved a life. I showed you what courage looks like. And I learned that love doesn't need words. Some things are bigger than speech." Lily read the note and tears filled her eyes. "I'm so lucky you're my dad." James wrote, "I'm the lucky one, princess." Later that day, they visited Judge Morrison and Mrs. Morrison for Sunday dinner. It had become their tradition. Every Sunday, they ate together as a family. Mrs. Morrison, now 86, hugged James when they arrived. "My guardian angel," she said with a smile. During dinner, they laughed and shared stories. Lily talked about school. Judge Morrison talked about an interesting case. Amanda shared news about her new job. James sat quietly, eating and smiling. He couldn't add to the conversation with words, but his presence spoke volumes. After dinner, Judge Morrison pulled James aside. "I have something to tell you. I'm retiring next month. I've been a judge for 30 years, and it's time." James wrote, "You'll be missed. You're one of the good ones." "Thank you, James. But I want you to know something. You changed my life. Before the shooting, I had become cynical. I had seen so much violence and evil in my courtroom that I forgot about goodness. But you reminded me. You reminded me that there are still people who will sacrifice everything for a stranger. You gave me hope again." James wrote, "You gave me hope too. When I lost everything, you helped me rebuild. We helped each other." Judge Morrison smiled and hugged him. "Indeed we did." That night, as James tucked Lily into bed, she looked at him with serious eyes. "Daddy, I have to write an essay for school. It's about heroes. Can I write about you?" James wrote, "I'm not a hero, sweetheart. I'm just your dad." "That's exactly what makes you a hero," Lily said. "You don't need a cape or superpowers. You just love me and take care of me and never give up. That's a real hero." James felt his chest tighten with emotion. He wrote, "You can write whatever you want, princess. I'm proud of you, no matter what." Lily hugged him tight. "I love you, Daddy. Even though you can't say it back, I always know. I see it every day." James held his daughter close. She was right. He couldn't say the words, but he showed them every single day. In bedtime stories written on paper. In packed lunches made with love. In braided hair and tucked-in blankets. In every sacrifice, big and small. Love wasn't spoken. It was lived. 10 years after the shooting, James stood in the audience of Lily's high school graduation. She was now 16 years old, about to graduate early because she had worked so hard in school. Lily had been chosen as valedictorian. She was giving the graduation speech. James's heart swelled with pride as Lily walked to the podium. She looked so grown up in her cap and gown. 10 years ago, Lily began, my father lost his voice saving a stranger's life. 3 bullets stole his ability to speak. But they couldn't steal his ability to love. They couldn't steal his strength. They couldn't steal his courage. Lily looked directly at James in the audience. My father taught me that words are just one way to communicate. Love speaks through actions. Courage speaks through sacrifice. Strength speaks through perseverance. My dad can't say, I love you, out loud. But I've heard it every single day in the way he looks at me, the way he supports me, the way he never gave up even when life was impossibly hard. So, Dad, Lily's voice cracked with emotion, this speech is for you. Everything I am is because of you. You're my hero. You're my inspiration. And I love you more than words could ever express. The entire auditorium erupted in applause. Everyone stood, clapping and cheering. James sat in his seat, tears streaming down his face, his heart overflowing with love. Lily had become an amazing young woman. And he had been there for every moment of her journey. After the ceremony, Lily ran to James and hugged him tight. Did you like my speech? James pulled out his notebook and wrote, it was perfect. You're perfect. I'm so proud of you, princess. Lily laughed and cried at the same time. I couldn't have done any of this without you, Dad. Judge Morrison and Mrs. Morrison approached. Mrs. Morrison, now 91 and using a walker, smiled warmly. James, look at your beautiful daughter. You raised an extraordinary young woman. Amanda also came over, hugging Lily. Your speech was beautiful, honey. Your father is very proud. They all stood together, James, Lily, Amanda, Judge Morrison, and Mrs. Morrison, a family forged not by blood, but by sacrifice, love, and shared history. As they walked to the parking lot, Lily held James's hand. Dad, I've been accepted to college. I'm going to study law. I want to be a judge, like Judge Morrison. James stopped walking. His eyes widened with surprise and pride. He wrote, why? Because I want to help people, like you helped Mrs. Morrison. Like Judge Morrison helped you. I want to make a difference in the world. I learned that from you. James hugged his daughter. He had lost so much on that terrible day 10 years ago. His voice. His old life. His sense of safety. But he had gained so much more. Purpose. Peace. A deeper understanding of love. And the knowledge that he had raised a daughter who would change the world. As the sun set on that beautiful graduation day, James realized something profound. He had taken 3 bullets for the judge's mother. He had lost his voice. But he had found something infinitely more valuable. He had found the meaning of true heroism, not in grand gestures or spoken words, but in the quiet, everyday acts of love and sacrifice. And that was the greatest victory of all.